This week we have too many games to talk about. Pfft, not really. Hektor makes us go crazy in the Deadwood. What is this, Sorcery? AriiCora joins us from Chicken Wolf Gaming in preparation for a charity stream for Kira's service K-9. It's episode 43 of the Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot! Hey, this is JaShinYa, and this is episode 43, as stated in the previous paragraph. And we're going to do like we always do at the beginning of every show, and we're going to talk about things that don't really matter about indie games. Yeah. So what are you doing, Tech?
So, I was talking about the stream, my jaw does a thing. It happened again, whatever. I spent, we talked about Besiege in an earlier episode, and that game, there's something about it. Like, it's gotten really big on YouTube. I actually made a video about a thing for it, and it went pretty good. And I'm like, maybe I want to do that again. People really like that. And I'm trying to find ways to be, like, innovative and work things in, like, relatively simplistically. So I was like, oh, well, no one's built a really good trebuchet. I'm going to see if I can do that properly, because people have, like, made them, like, kind of wrong, and they worked, but they were kind of wrong. And I was like, can I do this?
Well, aren't you limited by, like, resources?
Not yet. No, just sandbox mode.
Yeah, but I mean, the game is limited by itself.
Yeah, exactly. And so those limitations weren't really working. And then I was like, all right, let's stay on the path of, medieval weaponry. Let's try to make a ballista. I can easily make a ballista, right? And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I wanted to make it reloading, because making a ballista is like 8 parts. It's more than that, but you know what I mean? So then I was like trying to do this, and like the decouplers are all freaking broken and wrong, and the physics is just, friction is bad, and the decouplers are bad, and there's just so much things that I wish I could do, but I can't, and it's like, and it's to the point where you have to, like, I don't know, it got me kind of frustrated this morning.
And then you just punched the hole through your monitor.
Almost, yeah. I also got a new monitor, whatever.
No, whatever. Oh, you're not going to brag this time.
So if you see me looking over here versus over there, okay. So funny story. I bought the first monitor that I have, which is this guy, which is one that I bought at some point. When I bought it, it was like $120, maybe even less than that, with the intention of, oh hey, this monitor is $120. I'm going to buy 2 more in the future. Fast forward a few months, the monitor is now $190, and I'm like, this monitor isn't worth $190. There are monitors that are $30 cheaper than this monitor that are better than this monitor, so I decided to buy one of those. Also, if you ever go to a library that is giving away books, find hardback books and just get like 4 or 5 of them every single time you see it, because it doesn't matter if you read them or not. The fact that you can like have a book of like a varying size to put under something that isn't quite right is just the best thing in the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick tip, because one of my monitors was like 2 inches shorter than the other one, and they don't have height adjustment, so I just threw a book under there and it fixed it.
I'm glad you could problem solve.
Words of wisdom
on the level of a caveman.
Well,
speaking of cavemen, Rev,
I'm exhausted. I had I've literally, and I do mean this literally. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Parks and Rec lately.
Literally.
And Sorcer's going to hit me for this, but I literally have been working with a single client all week. They had a single physical domain controller, and it died. So starting at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon and basically going until 3:30 this afternoon, I've logged just under 60 hours getting them all back up and, working again. It has been ridiculous. It got to the point where they were actually offering to hang a hammock in their office for me, and like one of the employees kept coming over to me and he's like, I haven't seen you eat all day. I was like, yeah, I don't have time to eat. It'll distract me, and I just I need to get this shit done. And he's like, okay, no, I understand. And then he comes back and like hands me this plate of noodles. He's like, it's not super good, and I'm sorry. Like, that was the best damn plate of noodle. Like, he could have made just a thing of top ramen and thrown some extra like seasoning on it, and I would have been in heaven. But no, this was like some gourmet version of ramen that he made, like handmade the noodles. And
oh my god,
he's a noodle presser.
It was just like
at his job, it's just like.
Yeah, no, this place is really kind of
Mamma
cool.
mia!
So no, it was a lot of fun, but I am super exhausted, and every project that I was supposed to be working on this week has just been ignored. And so, like, the only thing that I have done this week to relax is starting at 3:30 this afternoon. I said, fuck it, I'm going to play some mobile games, and played one of the games that we're talking about today.
Fantastic. I'm glad you played one of the games we were talking about today.
I play at least one of the games we talk about every week. I don't know what you're talking about.
You do, actually, the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Ari, what's been up with you?
Yes.
Well, first of all, Ari, by the way, this is Ari.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, over that way. He is, I know him, full disclosure. Full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
Full disclosure, I work with him. That's how I met him. But he is also part of a gaming group. He does a lot of LAN parties, and it's pretty big and all that sort of stuff. And I brought him on, one, because he's a cool dude, but also we're going to talk about Indie News Injection, but he's going to be doing a charity stream, which we're, at least I am, and hopefully Rev and Tech will be able to be a part of. But first, say hi, Ari. Tell us about a little bit about Tricky Wolf Gaming, and let us know what's been going on with you in the week.
Hello, my name is AriiCora. Everyone has said multiple times so far. I am the current leader of Tricky Wolf Gaming, which is a video game, like you said, LAN parties. We host multiple LAN parties every year, with our end of the summer bash LAN party being it just topped records of 200 people last summer, so we're trying to get more this time. And then we also some of us are also really new devs. I'm working on a 3D horror game right now as our first game.
Ooh.
So
and
so
of course
far,
we'll get first crack at it.
Yeah, so far the title, it's a survival horror game. It's called Gone by Night. So, should be
so
very
I'm not
good.
going to play it.
That's ominous. Rev's a little bitch.
Yep.
And so Tricky Wolf Gaming is pretty new. We've only been a group for about a year now. We used to be known as NicoCore or NicoCore Gaming, which is right now actually based in Tokyo, Japan, with their own staff members and everything. And they've kind of now are focusing on more Minecraft-related objects because I don't know why. Honestly.
Minecraft's so hot right now. Except it's not. So
I gave full control to his name is Tetsuya. He is the new leader. I gave full control to him just because he wanted it, and I was leaving. And besides the LAN parties and stuff, we also do a bunch of charities, including Extra Life every year. And right now we're working on a charity called Kira's K-9, which is for a fellow gamer of ours. She has cerebral palsy, and so we're trying to raise $5,000 for her to get a dog that will untie her shoes and all this other cool stuff.
Yeah. We'll go into more detail about that.
yeah,
That was
we'll
a
be
big
talking
thing
about
for
it.
me.
We'll go into more detail about that in the Indie News Injection, because we'll talk about all that stuff.
Speaking of, Josh, what did you do this week?
Oh, I was basically just sick all week. And Rev's the whole entire time, by the way, before the show, Rev's just like, because Josh didn't put any information and tell us about anything. He's being slow, he's being calm. And here I am, poor little old me, fucking...
You got Ebola?
I might as well have, me and my entire family. Not only am I doing this, but my wife has it worse, so 3 out of the 4 days... 3 out of the 4 days... I've been also taking care of the kids because my wife is I'm not she has it worse. like probably double what I have.
You know what's going to happen is that you have it, your wife has it, one of your kids is going to get it. That kid is going to give it to, well, hopefully not because your kids are really young, but then one of those kids is going to give it back to you.
Well, actually,
cycle again.
my son had something like that, but it lasted very short, and he didn't. I think because he gets all the antibodies.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. So my daughter hasn't gotten it yet, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But,
that's good.
I've
had that happen before.
It's just just one thing after another, and I'm trying to like keep up with everything. It's slowly killing me, so that's fun.
What can boost your immunity though, Josh?
An
indie news injection.
I was gonna say sex.
What do you do before sex?
Is that like
better?
Indie news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
Starting out Indie News Injection this week, a little game that we talked about on the show called Boss 101. Rev wasn't here for that. But it is now on Steam Greenlight. It got Steam greenlit, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's up for vote.
Yeah,
it
it's
is up for vote.
It just came out up for vote yesterday.
Yeah.
Get your facts straight.
So
I'm going to leave this one.
Come on. Yeah. So go to Steam Greenlight, and if you think it's cool, I think it's cool. Josh thinks it's cool. Rev, you have your own opinion.
Cool.
Definitely get it up there because, as we know, Steam Greenlight's dying soon, apparently. So
yeah, get it out there before Greenlight dies in 20 years. So, yeah, they keep talking about it dying. It doesn't happen. But anyway,
exactly.
You know what is happening? Too Many Games. It's a convention. Too Many Games is happening June 26th through the 28th, just outside of Philadelphia, and technically in Oaks, Pennsylvania. It's in the greater Philadelphia area, taking place in the greater Philadelphia Expo Center. But basically, Too Many Games is a really cool showing of games, and there's some music there. It actually reminds me a lot of... What are you laughing at, Rev?
Just you. It was like, oh, it's a game convention where they
have games and games.
With games.
And it actually reminds me a little bit of MagFest because there's like music and everything like there, and videos and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's even more game centric than MagFest was. And we're hoping Tech and I and Rev, if he's gonna drive out here, Tech and I are gonna go to Too Many Games. Hopefully, since that's a ways away, and we'll get some more coverage for you all there. I know that guy we covered from MagFest, Nate from Undercog, is going to be there. So if you like that game, if you like that game, that was a tech demo that we showed for that when we interviewed him. And it was really cool that he's going to have a full working, like an actual demo when this comes out, like a lot of new stuff to show. So
he was also one of the coolest guys we talked to. Like, I mean, everyone was cool, but like
when you talk about the embodiment of what the indie game community should be or is, that guy is it.
Yeah.
Like and
it's like we heard about him. I know we talked about we heard about him from like two guys like, hey, check out this game. We don't have a booth yet. And then it's just like, he's got his friends doing stuff. He had another guy who was doing voices for it, like trying to get people to check it out. Like he was just bringing people in, helping them out, and like it's just him. But it's and then it's that is indie games.
So if you're gonna if you have the time to stop by the greater Philadelphia area where they convene with games, stop by Too Many Games. It's actually not that much for the full 3-day weekend. It's $100. If you just want to stop by for like the busiest day, Friday or Saturday, I think it's like $30-ish. So it's not that much. So if you're in the area, stop by. Maybe you'll see us there. Say hello, give us a hug, and then we'll
we'll like sign the business card,
and then you'll sign the restraining order.
Yeah, exactly.
June 26th through the 28th. 2 to 10 on Friday, 10 to 7 on Saturday, 10 to 5 on Sunday. They're going to have concerts. They've got some relatively big names, I guess. They're like, oh, here's our list of guests. And I'm like, I recognize one person.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people from
Tom Fulp.
Newgrounds.
Tom Fulp.
Tom Fulp,
yeah,
Will Stamper.
Person.
You don't know James Rolfe? Angry Video Game Nerd?
No.
Really?
Yeah, he made a video game about himself.
Yeah.
Which seems a little narcissistic, but you know, whatever.
Hey, Alpha Omega Sin's gonna be there. I like him.
And
I don't know who that is.
Oni is going to be there as well. Although I don't understand why he's going to be there, to be honest.
Oh well.
But you know, whatever.
Yeah.
He's internet famous.
Yeah.
So,
You know what? Some things that other people don't necessarily understand, and I had to explain to the other hosts. Our next topic, which is the Ashens Game Jam with Bossa Studios. So this wasn't really like an open game jam. Basically, if you are familiar with Ashens on YouTube, he's a very large, relatively prominent British YouTuber who got popular reviewing, as best the way he puts it, cheap tat from dollar stores and crappy stuff that gets sent to him, and he's gotten very big. He even had a movie that was crowdfunded. That he was a part of, and now everyone was always asking him, "Oh, make a video game. You and Chef Excellence, who's another character in the movie, it can have guns and it'll be all pixel arty and you can shoot things and all these other things will be like final bosses." And he's like, "No, because those games have already happened." And then I can't remember who reached out to who, but either he reached out to Bossa Studios of I Am Bread and Surgeon Simulator fame, or they reached out to him, but they basically split their team up into 4 different groups and over 48 hours made proof of concept for games sort of based around, his, videos. And you can now download, play, and rate those games on their site. Currently there are 4. One is Game of the Year. I don't know how to... IDST.
When did this start exactly?
This started earlier this week.
Because I mean, okay, so not that long, but still, I feel like for as popular as Bossa is, and I've actually never heard of Ashens, but if he's that popular still, I feel like there should be more games. Secondly, I'm curious because Rev expressed some concerns or opinions about this particular game jam, about it being what was the wording?
I don't know.
Weren't you talking? It was going to be the discussion, then we switched it.
No. That was just a general discussion.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about this particular game jam. I was like,
no.
All right.
Yeah.
This one did not fall under that category because it, was well run and had a point and enforcement of the rules and,
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the point was not only, to have the sort of Ashens theme. By the way, he has like 700,000 subscribers, just to put that into perspective.
What do you mean Ashens theme? Like what? Because explain to him.
For
anyone who wants to do a game for this.
Right. Well, it's already closed.
Oh, well, shit.
It was just within the team to sort of make games. Yeah. He dry humor, funny crap. He did a lot of reviews on pop stations, which are basically like budget systems where you have like the LCD screens and like the 2 frame a second motion and all the games are the same. He also collects a lot of old rip-off game systems like the Game Child Game Boy ripoff.
Okay.
Sounds awful.
And
we're like cricket.
Yeah, exactly. They're not very good at all. And so basically their task was sort of, off of those themes and what you can gather from them, make something different. It doesn't have to be, like the standard typical, game. And so some of these are very, very strange. Specifically Knockoff Simulator.
Can we knock off a knockoff?
Exactly.
I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, which is literally like, here are a bunch of you're in China and you're trying to develop knockoffs and you have to balance, usability with gimmicks and you have to get so many different things for these different phones. And
big
all
knockoff
these items
in Little
are just,
China.
Yeah, exactly. Just streaming on these conveyor belts and you're constantly losing money because you're producing all these things. So you have to quick grab them. And like, this.
But you might knock it off the conveyor belt.
No, you're making cheap knockoff phones.
That you might knock off the conveyor belt.
Maybe, possibly. and that was kind of fun. And then you also have Super Smash Scope 7, where
Jokes by Josh.
Yeah. where you break these boxes and then bullet time starts, and there are all these like knockoff game systems that sort of like show up from the explosion. You have to use your gun to shoot them into the goal, and it's in first person, and it's kind of cool. You know, I kind of dug that. You also have The Greatest Game Never Played, which is like a sort of text adventure RPG sort
Rev's
of
large
thing.
phallus.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, and then you have Game of the Year
No.
IDST, where you're basically like cleaning and dressing YouTube stars. All these games are made in 48 hours. You can check them out on ashensgamejam.bossastudios.com. Yeah.
For the correct link, check the chat or the description.
So which one's the host site, Ashens Jam or Bossa Studios?
Bossa Studios.
Okay, just make it because it's like the dot. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking
Well,
of knockoffs real quick. When I went to China, I actually found a knockoff of an Xbox 360, except it said Xbox with an E at the end.
Xbox.
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 It was really cool looking though.
At first, I thought you were.
Did it function?
Yeah,
Wow.
it totally did, but it's called an Xbox with an E.
At first, I thought you were
And it was-
professionally transitioning into Kira's K-9.
No,
And I was about to be like,
Good job.
it just
Speaking
came
of
up.
knockoffs, I've got a cerebral palsy dog.
No,
So tell us about Kira's K-9 charity and the stream to
And
Okay.
really sell me on why I should care, other than the cerebral palsy dog sounds awesome.
the dog does not have cerebral palsy.
which is something else that we were talking about.
that's why I'm laughing. By the
for
way,
the
I'm
show.
not that big of an asshole. I'm laughing because I imagined the knockoff being a cerebral palsy dog.
So,
Hello, guys,
no.
this is phone.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We're awful people.
I'm sorry,
So we're
Kira.
not
I'm
because
sorry.
but because charities are good.
Okay,
I'm not. All right. I'm not laughing at cerebral palsy. I'm just laughing at that idea. All right.
So what Kira's K-9 charity is that our fellow gamer, her name is Kira Bean. She has cerebral palsy and she has mobility issues, so she can barely walk. She uses a walker, a cane, stuff like that. And it's hard to, if you drop something, it's hard for her to get around a lot. So with this dog, it's $5,000. The dog's name is Louie, I believe. Which fun fact: if you sing the song "Louie Louie" to the dog, he'll start dancing. I guess it's part of it. we got to meet this dog.
That's part of the package. Under features, it says "We'll dance to Louie Louie."
Yeah. So right now we're doing a bunch of different fundraisers, all under the name Kira's K-9, and within the coming weeks we're already planning a 24-hour charity stream.
Now, is it going to be just 24 hours? Because some of the best charity streams are ones that go for like 2-3 days.
It's gonna be a long time.
Okay.
Well, I guess you could
We're
always
gonna
change it
go
as it
until you-
goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, until one of us slightly dies. Yeah.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hey, I'm just saying, get Josh or me on. When
Well,
we have
I'm
time,
I'm already planning on being on.
That's true.
And this is me asking you to. I'm putting you on
Yeah.
the spot, so you will be there. Will you join?
Give me a date. I'll clear my schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
I think that this is like seriously a really, really good charity, especially considering that like a lot of people don't. It's weird. Like a lot of people don't understand cerebral palsy. Like I mean, I know it's it's in like Breaking Bad, and now it's sort of like starting to like get understood. But
Yeah.
like all throughout school, like
Well, there's different-
elementary school, middle school, high school, like there was always like that one, like that one kid or the two kids
Yeah.
that like you didn't really see, but you maybe had a class with, and everyone always thought it was like, oh, they have some mental problem, they're
Yeah.
in a wheelchair.
There's
And then
different
you, like-
levels of it too.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, because you were mentioning like though people think they're like they're retarded or not.
Exactly.
And it's not even that. Because I mean, first of all, I've had experience directly with two people with cerebral palsy. One was in school, like you said. There was this kid
Yeah.
a
The
grade
other
above
was
me.
yourself. No.
Cerebral palsy in a grade above me. Unfortunately, he actually got bullied. I remember he got pushed downstairs once and cracked
Oh my
his head
God.
open. It was kind of fucked up. But he was he is a smart dude.
Yeah.
He's pretty successful right now and everything like that. And he was in I forget what the group is called, but basically it's almost like kind of like a UN kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Student UN.
Yeah, model UN.
Yeah.
Model. It's almost like that, but it's not quite. He's in that sort of thing, and I know that kind of continued on through his career right now. And another one, my mom actually used to be like a at-home care for kind of person for a girl with cerebral palsy. And I mean, they're not, people with cerebral palsy aren't stupid. Just to give a little bit of awareness about it, it's just it's a physical debilitation.
Well, the actor in Breaking Bad,
exactly.
He had it pretty minor compared to a lot of
He
people.
actually has cerebral palsy, and he was having a hard time playing it up for the show. But
again, it is varying degrees. I mean, you think like either on Breaking Bad, it's like, oh, the speech impediment and the canes, but it can get as bad as you're in a wheelchair and you have very little control of your whole body.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, and you can't even like speak, and having help around, especially like with an animal, like you look at all these animals that are like these care animals that are brought to like hospitals, and how much they like change these kids and adults alike like perspectives and make them happier, and then all of a sudden you have this exactly, you have this 24-hour, and it's so much cheaper and so much easier than hiring a caretaker, because that person has a family, that person has needs, that person needs to sleep. And who doesn't love dogs, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and Caribbean wants to be more like independent. She doesn't want to rely on a caretaker, and she's actually really intelligent and actually pretty badass. She, I believe, she got pretty popular off of the fact that she can play almost pro Mortal Kombat with one hand.
That's pretty awesome. Wow.
Because her cerebral palsy affects both her legs and then her left hand. So she's a right hand, and I've played with her before, and she kicked my ass completely.
Yeah.
You can also just suck, but still, that's pretty ass. That is pretty badass. And
accessibility, man. Accessibility in games. It's another thing we're really big on.
And I mean, just kind of going to the broader aspect of it too. Like, I feel like we always talk about how the indie game community is very supportive of each other and things like that. And I think that's what we always think about, supporting game devs and game devs giving back to their fans and everything like that. But gamers need to help each other too. In this way, it's kind of the same way. We were doing the thing with Indie Gamer Chicken and epilepsy, which she suffers from, and now with Kira and her cerebral palsy. It's something that I'm not laughing at this. It's because of the chat. Don't blame me.
There's something funny posted in chat.
Yeah. Anyway, So I think that this is something that needs to be more prevalent in indie games. I don't. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't see it very often outside of like YouTube.
Well, you're going. That's actually a kind of good lead into our discussion point, and that is, in the last 5-10 years, maybe we've seen a huge increase in video games being used for positive effect, not just at a cultural level, but I mean also at a individualized level, where people are. I mean, you've got what is the speedrunners charity stream. They raise tens of thousands of dollars. The PAX charity streams and stuff like that. And I think in a large part we can utilize indie games in a way that we can't necessarily do with our AAA trash games. Yeah. And we've actually seen this happen. Part of the reason why we just some backstory for the audience. Part of the reason why we're on Hitbox TV as opposed to Twitch is because Twitch has some pretty ludicrous rules about the games that you can stream and how it saves your recordings, etc., and what you can do with those. Whereas 99.99% of all indie devs are like, we want you to stream, we want you to make YouTube videos, go out and do something with this. It'll be awesome. And Hitbox provides that platform in a way that Twitch no longer really can outside of indie games. And I think that as this becomes more and more defined, as this becomes more and more a part of our ingrained culture, I think we're going to see more of the big name streamers, the big name charity streamers, moving to the indie games, as opposed to, you know, oh, I'm gonna play Assassin's Creed Saga. And I think that kind of connection really helps out both games and the charities that they support. Yeah. You know, whether that be Charity Water or Kira's K-9, sorry, or some of the others that we've talked about. You know, it's all for a good cause. And
now, this is just me playing devil's advocate, and if it is a problem, maybe finding a solution to that problem. Or so, being that indie games, we all know the indie game community is very supportive, and we try to purchase games at full price, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff, give money. However, we talk about not only do people have limited funds, but when you're talking about the game devs sinking all the resources into what they're making, what ways? Obviously, what ways can they help? And there's the obvious way of like spreading the word and things like that. But can we come up with some solutions for people out there who want to do more like this, but they're like, well, I don't have the resources for this.
But what kind of resources? Because I mean, that's
monetary, or otherwise that can help, get the goal completed.
Yeah.
Well, it's I mean, not to put our guest Ari on the spot, but I mean, if you had the spare $5,000 kicking around, would you throw that into the Kira's K-9?
No.
Well, no, actually, it depends on your perception of it. I guess me knowing Kirby personally, yeah, because that's a close friend of mine. Now, if I was just a random person, be like, well, what do I get out of it? How does it help? I'd have all these questions, so it wouldn't be throw right in there.
That's true.
Fair point. But I mean, you personally would, if you had that same $5,000, would you donate it to, say, Charity Water?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay,
I would probably clean water in Africa or something.
Probably,
I think it is.
If I had this is $5,000 and I want to be charitable. Although,
maybe if you were like Bill Gates and $5,000 was like.
But like at the same time, like you do have to sort of think about that. And I'm glad this was brought up because, $5,000 to one person is really helpful. But is it more helpful than $100 to a bunch of different people? Or is it more helpful than $1,000 to 5 different charities?
Well, hold that quick thought, because the point that I was trying to make with Ari is that he obviously doesn't have the $5,000, right? And so he can't just. Well, I'm making an assumption based on the fact that Kira still needs to get her shoe tying dog. But it. Given that you don't have that ability, how are you chipping in? How are you helping out? He's coming on our show and helping promote this. He's spreading the word online. He's using what available resources he does have, and it sounds kind of callous and business-like of me, which kind of goes against everything I stand for. But time is money, and. I don't know what Ari's normal schedule is like, and so I'm assuming that this is time that he could be doing other things, but he's taking that time out of his day to try and spread the word about this cause. And beyond that, I mean, unfortunately, the world revolves around money. And so if you can't contribute in one way, find another way to do so. Host a charity jam. Have an entry fee to a game jam that's fine. Well, okay, that's a different conversation.
All the freaking bake sales.
Yeah.
We actually did that too. We made like really giant cookies in the shape of paw prints and dog bones and stuff. So, and then Kira Bean decided, hey, I'm gonna go throw a glob of cookie dough at Ari because I can. And she did.
It's. I think also the biggest way that somebody who isn't necessarily in Ari's position would be able to help out is I don't know, like this sounds really boring or useless, but spreading the word, because mouths talking about something is a lot more powerful than I think we give it credit, especially in Western culture. I don't, because speaking on Western culture, because I don't know anything about, this is the one I live in. Because talking about something and bringing people together, even if not all of them are donating a cent, like donating their time, getting more people interested, getting the word out, and having them really think about the situations that are going on in other people's lives, like that in and of itself is huge. And that support, even if it's not monetary support, is one of the most helpful things, especially considering that the internet, it has connected so many thousands of people to do great things like this.
I think it's great too, just to take the few seconds to even just tweet it out and all that sort of stuff. But Rev made a good point about the time is money thing. Even if you don't have money, your time, it might as well be money. So maybe being more, if you really, really want to help out, maybe instead of, it's easy to just be like, here's a tweet or here's a retweet.
Social activism does not.
Yeah, maybe go out and take your time and energy to do something like, a bake sale was kind of a half joke, but at the same time, maybe you could hold a bake sale and then go on to that link and throw the money into that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or even, and there's other ways. Prior, when I was unemployed, I volunteered for a lot of online charity streams, not to, necessarily help there on site, because most of the group that I worked with was based out of Australia, but I did what I could from where I was at with my internet connection. I tweeted about it, I donated a couple bucks here and there, but I volunteered to help moderate the chat for their stream. I was helping answer their PR
definitely.
questions and dealing with website updates and things like that. And so there's we live in an infinite universe, and we have infinite amounts of imagination.
And if you have talent, that's another thing you donate.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, so again, for people who want to help out Curious K-9, the charity stream, we're going to the charity link is currently active. So if you feel like you can donate anything at all, please feel free to click on that link and donate.
And again, full disclosure, like, even though Josh works with Ari and we're all talking about this, like, we're not in this for anything. Like, this isn't something that's gonna like kick back to us. This is all going to this. Like, we're not getting paid or anything.
Shoot tanks to rebuild
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all going
all
to
about
the dog is the one getting the money. Then he'll dance away with it as you sing.
Exactly.
Basically, just to help out, your fellow gamer, your fellow person.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that look out for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So, click the link, donate if you can, and we'll let you know, keep you updated once the actual stream is completely set up and planned out. I know I'll be a part of it. Hopefully, Tech and Rev will be able to as well. And I think you were talking about getting some other people, even someone as big as RPG Minx. Maybe?
Yes.
Possibly.
Yeah, I've actually been, we've been emailing back and forth, so I'm going to see how that goes.
So that'd be cool. Check it out. But since we started the Riot for this, I think it's time to start the Riot for something else. Start a Riot. This week on Starting the Riot, we crap our pants. This is the game that we interviewed the devs, just Rev and I. Tech couldn't make it because he's a bastard. Called Hektor. And I'm going to get some gameplay rolling here in just a second. And if you don't remember, Hektor is like a psychological horror game. What's really cool, first of all, it's cool because it's inspired by some really awesome indie horror games like Amnesia, Penumbra, maybe a little bit Outlast. I didn't confirm that if that was actually an inspiration by them or not, but you can kind of get the feels because of the whole mental thing. But what's really cool about this is they came up with their own engine. They call it the Jigsaw engine. Basically, I don't know if you want to say levels, but the setting is procedurally generated, yet at the same time, it's a linear story. and you're going through, you have to take pills to keep yourself from going insane, but at the same time you're still going insane, and everything's just freaking messed up, and it's terrifying and everything like that. The devs who made it are called Rubicon Games. It is currently on sale on Steam, released recently. What was it?
Last week.
March
8th.
Thank you.
Last week.
March 8th, and someone want to tell me the price because I can't bring up
It's
the thing.
$20.
Thank you,
$19.99.
$19.99 on Steam. The amount of work that was put, by the way, 5-person team, only met each other recently at GDC, made this game, which continues to impress me incredibly. Just how just little groups of people from far distant lands can just make something this awesome. Even if you don't like hard games, you have to be impressed with this. It's insane.
It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
It is. I think
So
that
terrifying.
I do have my hesitations with this game. More on that later. But the fact that they were able to engineer the level of horror that you get in this game, and we've seen the rising of these crazy jump scare games like Five Nights at Freddy's, where it's literally the scare is
okay. Well, that one.
Oh my
before
God,
you go
scare.
shitting on that, I think
I'm not.
it gets a little bit too much shit sometimes. Although
No,
there's
exactly.
a lot of fanboyism. But anyway,
the scary part of this game, there are going to be jump scares. There are going to be things that you walk into and are immediately frightened by. But there are subtleties of this game that really add to the horror aspect. Obviously every single time you play it, it's going to be different. Yes, the story is still happening, but it's there is this strange. They did it very very well, where there are it's subtle horror, but it's very 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 scary.
it really messes with your mind. The whole changing the way the setting changes around you too is just really disorienting and just makes you really uneasy, on edge the entire time. And the one thing that Amnesia lent to it and Penumbra is their whole maybe physics kind of thing, where you have to push and pull doors and all that sort of stuff. You're seeing in the gameplay now. I think they're trying to pull a locked door and failing miserably. But it's people tend to when you say inspired by, people are inspired by, that means just copying off of it. No, it's not copying off of it. It just means that they are this game is awesome.
Yeah,
let's make our own horror game.
And that's
a few little bits maybe. But
that's sort of one of my complaints. Not the whole it was inspired by, but there were moments of this game where I was just oh yeah, Amnesia, okay, because they look kind of similar, and obviously the settings are different and the gameplay is different. And yeah, you're still grabbing stuff. The grabbing stuff didn't really do it for me, but there was just something about it that did sort of feel like that, to the point where when because I didn't do the interview, to the point where I was did these guys make Amnesia? Because this almost seems like the logical next step. And I think that's the big thing too. This isn't a game you've played before.
It's funny you say that, though, not to take away from this, but I've for months now I've had my eye on their next game, the Frictional Games' next game.
Yeah.
But that's for another day. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
One of the things that disappoints me about this, there are some drawbacks to this game at the moment, and fortunately they're not super horrible, but they're enough that it kind of makes me go but I'm still on board with this. I'm going to play this game. Next time Sorcery is over, we might play it together like we did Neverending Nightmares. But one of the things that I can't deal with is they don't have subtitles. They have a phenomenal voice cast, and they don't have subtitles, and I'm mostly deaf, and that kind of irritates me. But in general, I can boost my volume and have Sorcery translate for me. But no, this by everything that I can see about this game, I'm excited for it. I just it scares me.
Yeah, it does. When I first saw like the trailer for this game, I was like, "Oh, hey, we're talking about this game." Like what? Or even before we were starting about talking about the game, like I was like, "What's this game that everyone's talking about?" And I looked at the trailer and I'm like, "Okay, I can do this." And then there was like a part of the trailer where I was just like, "Oh no, it's a little bit too late right now. I'm good. I'm gonna wait a little bit."
I'm gonna wait like years from now.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing with me in horror. Like, I will when I pick up horror, I get like immersed into it, and then when I bring myself out of it, it's really hard for me to get myself back in. One thing that this game does do is it pulls you in. Like, it doesn't. It is, especially with like the having to take your pills and you are going insane, and the very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a film term. It's off center just enough that, like, it seems gimmicky, but it
it's
works.
framed different.
Yeah.
Ari, you were talking about something earlier. What were you gonna say?
Well, what I really like about it is that, it is similar to Amnesia in some ways. What I look for, especially in survival horror games, is the feeling of actually being hunted by something and not being really able to do anything about it. And this game, it seems to have an infinite amount of replay value, which I look for in most games.
Yeah,
it's not just like once and done thing. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still terrified to play it at night.
The procedurally generated, the procedure generated aspect of it does add a lot of replay value to it. If you're a masochist, and one thing that always impressed me with these, Amnesia did it well, and I think this game does it well too, is the pacing of it. It takes a while for the monster to show up.
And some people might have problems with that. People aren't big on that, but
I mean, people with the attention spans of a third grader maybe, but,
exactly.
But yeah, it takes a while, but at the same time, there's still plenty enough to get you scared. It's all about atmosphere. It's about pacing, and apparently, when the monster does show up, it's pretty heart stopping. So it's all worth the wait if you like to die. So.
I will admit that when the monster showed up, just don't make fun of me, I let out what may have been a small sob.
It's like so much time, so much work.
I wasn't expecting it, and when it showed up,
that's a
I
very
got so scared
real
I was crying.
response. That's a very real response.
I actually almost I hate the feeling of being. It's not the hunted feeling. It's when they're actually on your ass, and I hate the feeling of being chased. I hate it so much, like where it's like breathing down your neck. There's one point, if you when I did an Amnesia Let's Play, if you ever watched the videos of that.
I was gonna bring up this.
I played Amnesia, and there's this one point where I'm trying to I'm running away in the sewers, and I'm trying to get up the ladder, and I'm like, like I was like really starting to quiver a little.
You're going to talk about the point where you like push your entire desk.
That was Outlast. Oh,
Outlast, right.
Yeah, Outlast. No, this part I'm talking about because he meant like sobbing. Like I was on the verge of tears, kind of. I was like, please go up the ladder. I'm a little bitch, so that's okay.
So going back to the game, one thing I did want to warn our viewers about, if you get this, they just recently released an update to it. It's now 1.1.0, and a big push for that is the fact that several players that have provided them feedback have said that the bending effect that's caused by the insanity level can cause nausea and headaches. So they've actually implemented some settings that'll at least minimize that for players, and they're working on an alternative set of effects to show the insanity without causing that. So, hats off to Rubicon. You guys are absolutely amazing.
I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
I'm excited. You know what else is next?
What?
What's that?
Me showing our faces.
Yeah.
And then it's Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we have a game called Deadwood, The Forgotten Curse. This game, for some reason, tickled that part of my brain that in multiple parts of my brain, and I'll get into that. But basically, this is it's a 3D top-down strategy survival game where there is a day and night cycle, and you play as Lathe. I was just trying to make sure that I got that right. You play as Lathe, yeah.
Okay.
You know, like the lathe, you know, that spins and you cut it.
Sure.
Yeah. you cut stuff anyway. And you're basically going on an adventure, and you have your you're a builder, and so you can create all these crazy things. You gather wood and metal and stone, and you have this big rock golem called Rogard that helps you out, and you hang around. But when night comes, Rogard falls asleep, and the Deadwood come out, which are basically zombies, and they're looking for sap, which is the lifeblood of the tree people, obviously. It's a very sort of... Yeah. Well, I like, when you hear that, when you hear that, you're just like, oh yeah, okay, all right, I'm into that. And there are also rare items, rare-ish items like different elements that you can use to make different weapons or other such things. And during the day, it's very much a gathering, exploration game, and then by night you have to shack up, make defenses, and try to protect Rogard, who is falling asleep, and yourself from all of these crazed dead wood zombies. And for some reason this tickles like the sort of steampunk part of my brain, but it also sort of for very little reason, because I
guess it's kind of like, because you're taking something so primitive and taking it and turning it into technology. And
it also sort of as soon as I saw this game, and it was sort of like the top down 3D, and I'm big into 3D platformers, and no, this is not a 3D platformer, but there was something about it that maybe it was like Diablo-esque, sort of top down isometric view, but it looks, the art is very unique. Like it really stands out. Like these guys and a lot of the team, they've worked on stuff like Avatar and How to Train Your Dragon 2 and The Hobbit and BioShock and a lot of other games and movies. And the fact that they were able to like create this very memorable, iconic world and characters that are simple enough to be understood easily, but detailed enough to where you think about it and it's right there in your head, but without even having to look it up, is a testament to their skill and what they are really bringing to this game. And I haven't even gotten into all the weird puzzly aspects like old Sierra style game puzzles that they're throwing into this thing.
Yeah, that is a nice twist into it. It's not just a tower defense kind of deal.
Yeah,
but I like that they're bringing in multiple genres into it without. It doesn't, like, even though they're doing that, it doesn't seem overly convoluted.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice, and the art drew me in at first glance. You were mentioning that it's really it actually kind of Double Fine-esque in a way.
A little bit. Yeah. Almost, I would argue that it might be better. Like Double Fine in its prime.
They also have,
but like
they also have a lot of experienced
people.
But yeah,
just looking at their team, you've got guys from Weta Digital, the guys that did Avatar and the Hobbit movies. They had The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and like they have a really well-skilled team. Like their sound designer did the sound design for the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have some skill. One of the things that I wanted to mention is they have a pretty solid breakdown in their Kickstarter, and I wish they would attach actual numerical value to their pie charts. But it looks like if they meet their goal, they're asking for $65,000,
which is a lot of money.
Not as much as other games, though.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
it's obtainable.
They've already, assuming they make their goal of $65,000, I'm going to do some quick math here. They will have self-funded just over 65% of it themselves. So this is just going to kind of round out the rest of the game.
Yeah.
A lot of it goes into fees and licensing. Their biggest chunk is actually going to be paying for full-time development. Because they've been doing it in their spare time, for the most part. But
and that's another thing too. They basically on their Kickstarter they were talking about, it's like, this isn't just a pre-order. We need you to make this game, and there are a lot of companies that do that, and I didn't really think about it. Like there are certain companies that are like, pre-order this, it's going to come out at some point, but now you can get it at a cheap price. Whereas these guys are like, we actually need your help. We are starting to do this full time.
They sunk a lot of their own money into this.
They did,
and not just into the game, but like, first of all, it kind of blows my mind. In a way, I'm happy that these big AAA devs and movie makers are coming into the indie scene, but at the same time, like, being someone who's trying to make it, you know what I mean? And other indie devs, you're like, you just threw away like 6 figures, dude. Like, what are you doing? But so they quit their jobs to do this. They also have a pretty badass office, which I don't know how much that costs, but I'm sure that costs money.
Really. I want that office.
They sunk a good amount of their money into this already, so that's probably part of the reason that they need you to like finish this game.
Yeah, and also that it looks so polished. And in talking about and we talked about this on an earlier show, and we always bring it up, like, the way that they have their Kickstarter laid out, perfect. Like, not perfect, but like very few gripes. Gameplay footage right at the beginning of the video, relatively obtainable goals, a lot about who they are. They're really bringing people in. They've already been greenlit on Steam.
They've also got a deal with IndieBox,
which is how I found out about them. Excuse me, but yeah, they're already with the IndieBox, and part of their rewards, by the way, is to
get a copy of
not only get an IndieBox, but also get this game as the IndieBox edition. It comes with the physical flash drive and everything.
Yeah, and so right now, all of the early bird special $10 versions of the game have been sold. For $11, you get the digital copy of the game, the PDF manual, and the PDF survival guide. Once those run out, they're not going to run out. They might run out anytime soon. There are like
1,500 of them.
Yeah, exactly. 1,500 of them left. $15 gets you the game. $25 gets you 2 copies of the game. Or you can do other goals on $25 where you get the digital copy of the soundtrack. They've got also beta access that you can support the beta. Everyone can argue about, oh, you're paying to be a beta tester. That's not cool, but you're supporting a game. It's a cool game,
And I think it also kind of helps just kind of give them some credibility that so many people have faith in them that this will get finished.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not just throwing your money into something like it happens sometimes. Excuse that as I pause that YouTube video and go back to their faces. And it gives them credibility to see so many people have faith in the game that it's going to get completed. It's IndieBox has faith because they already have everything set for that, and the Greenlight community, for as much as that
is near worthless.
Yeah, but
still
they have faith in it. We have faith in it because, and also just their background. They know how to get things finished. They're professionals. They're not just some people like that are just coming out of nowhere, which is okay.
It's not the Indie Game Riot crew making, Indie Game Riot.
Well, I'd like to think that we would finish a game, but
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
They have a lot of credibility, so don't
Yeah.
worry too much. I mean, obviously anything's possible, but don't worry too much about your money just going nowhere.
Exactly. And
Good,
really,
good luck,
like,
Steamroller Studios. Gosh,
Yeah.
I wish
I mean,
you the best.
and the fact, like, that's another thing too. Like, I know we talked about this, but these guys are committed to this game. Like, we know they've already sunk so much money, and you can tell. Like there's some games that are like, oh yeah, here's a quick tech demo video here. We're really working on it. These guys, they've been working on it. Like, this is the only done deal now is get this money and it's going to you. And especially these guys know how to work on a deadline. They were on movies. Like,
Yeah. Talk about deadlines.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely Deadwood, The Forgotten Curse on Kickstarter. They currently have just under $20,000 of $65,000 pledged. As of the recording, you have 17 days when this goes up. I can't tell you exactly when this is going to go up, but you have around 15-ish days. Yeah, until April 7th. Definitely check it out. You don't even have to throw a whole lot of money at it if you don't want to. And to play it, it's, yeah, thumbs up.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
You know who else has Deadwood?
Oh, that's a penis joke.
It is Going Mobile.
And our Going Mobile games this week is actually a series by Inkle Studios. This is called Sorcery. It's on iOS and Android. It is a little bit pricey for a mobile game. However, I'm totally okay with this. The first one and second one are currently out, Sorcery and Sorcery 2. Sorry, that's Sorcery Bang! Exclamation mark. And Sorcery! Exclamation mark 2. They're $5 each. Game 3 is coming out. I have put in probably about 4 hours into this game so far, the first one. And I have to say, I am so fucking impressed with the writing. There's no voice acting, at least not that I've encountered in my 4-hour stint. But it's really I don't know how to describe this. The
Choose
writing,
your own adventure.
Yeah, it's kind of a choose your own adventure, but with the combat aspect to it,
Yeah.
the music is actually relatively fantastic when it's there. I wish it was present more often. Like, they need to have you're sitting in the map screen music. But it's really kind of an intuitive interface. As you can see on the screen, you get your decisions to make, and you press the one, and then you get the text blurb on it, and moving along, and then you just kind of drag your character to the next objective that you have there, and it's not procedurally generated per se, but every branch, like every action point on the map, allows you to make choices, and how those choices all interact. What happens at the 6th branch because you chose something on the 1st branch, all plays a role into it. Now, I'm currently halfway dead on my 2nd life. I've been playing very conservatively, and I hope they show some combat in this video. If not, I'm going to continue to describe
As you said
it.
that.
Huh?
As you said that, they started combat.
Oh, perfect. So it's really kind of straightforward. You have a stamina bar. Well, stamina is your life, your hit points. But you actually drag your character, which is on the left, either away from your opponent or towards your opponent. And based on how far towards your opponent is how much power you spend in the attack, and you just try and top each other's attack power, and whoever ends up with the most attack spent does the most amount of damage. And
So it's like a game of war.
Yeah, pretty much. But you can, if you go all the way to the left, you're in defend mode, and you take the bare minimum damage of 1, regardless of how much that they spend. And you also recharge a little bit of your power, your attack energy, as that happens. But it's really kind of I'm addicted to it. There's a spell casting component where you cast spells using 3 to 5 letters, but you collect that. You have a spell book that starts out with 48 spells. And, you know, some of them can only be cast at certain time of day. Others can only be cast if you have a certain item. There's all sorts of really intricate detail to this. And that's not counting the story, which is bloody fucking addicting. And I don't know how I'm going to fit this and the second one and the third one when it comes out and the fourth one when it comes out all into my schedule.
It actually, I think that, like, as far as the story goes, it reminds me, and it might be based off of or inspired by these old, you might remember them, Rev. Old Choose Your Own Adventure books that took place in, like, a similar fantasy world.
Yeah.
I forget what they're called, but...
Choose Your Own Adventure.
Well, I mean, was that actually the series name?
There was a series called that.
Yeah, but there was one that was specifically based on fantasy. I think that's what this might be. You know, that kind of a thing.
It also has a very heavy D&D feel without all the D&D technicality. If you ever want to have a feel for like what D&D sort of, you know, is about without having to, like, you know, learn what a D20 is, or, you know, oh well, what dice do I roll to do an attack? This would be a really good game to sort of get you the feel of the storytelling, and like it. I don't know, man. Like, you know how, like, we were talking about, you know, like make the charge money for the game and you will love it even more. Like the $5 for this game, like, you might think it's like, oh, $5, that's a super expensive mobile game. There's so much gameplay to it. There's so much, like, and it's not just like gameplay. It's like, I've played free games for, you know, like 10 hours.
You're
like,
still playing Bitcoin Billionaire.
Exactly. But I haven't gotten anything from it. Sorcery gives you like quality, and it makes you think, and there's so much quality gameplay that you can actually enjoy, that it's not some mindless, oh, here, pay me $5 to tap on a screen. No, it's $5 for a story that's going to change.
An actual game with a little bit of strategy.
And it's an actual game. Like,
it's a lot of fun. And honestly, I think the biggest draw for me in this one was something that I was not... I'm going to harp on it again. It's something I was not expecting out of a mobile game. And that is the story and the intricacy of it, and how the story changes based on what you're doing. You know, my first time, I ended up, my first life, I ended up standing at the side of a river getting my ass kicked by an elfenkind, and I won the fight, and he kind of disappeared, and then somebody giggled, and then my skull was caved in because he had cast a spell that makes a copy of him. And I was just like, that son of a... And I knew that spell existed because I was reading through my spell book, and it was like, oh, that might be a useful thing. But I didn't think that they were going to implement it. My second time, I was like, fuck the elves, guys. Those guys are dicks. I was trying to be nice, and they were like, no, we're going to stab you in the face. So
as all elves tend to do.
I had my leg bitten by a giant bat, and I cast a spell to take control of it, and I forced the bat to eat itself. and like,
That's terrible.
It's kind of messed up.
Oh.
The detail on this is just amazing. You're on the video. You're seeing the spell casting right now. But I mean, this game is intricate beyond belief, and I so highly recommend this. Like, this is probably going to be my next big addiction. I've just barely uninstalled Bitcoin Billionaire. I'm still playing Jump and Thump. I am going to be playing this while stuck in traffic.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, if only you could, never mind. I'm just gonna let it go. I love you, Josh.
You know what else? You know what else Rev is addicted to?
Himself.
The end of the show.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every week, man, I think you have a problem.
Every week he's like, let's come on, bring on the end. That's what you want all day long. End of the show. But yes, this is the end of the show. All the good things must come to an end. First of all, I want to announce, or not announce, but it's not new news, but just remind everyone that we have a Patreon going on. If you want to support us, you like what we do, help us help indie games, all that sort of stuff, please consider checking out the Patreon, our rewards, and you can see all our goals. We have really big plans and cool plans that we want to do for Indie Game Riot, so go check it out and support what you can. And secondly, thank you to AriiCora for coming on the show.
Yeah,
No
definitely.
problem.
What is
I had a
the
great time?
Yeah, again, be sure to keep an eye out for the charity scream. charity
Give me money. Give me more money.
Yeah, charity stream for Kira's K-9. We'll keep you up to date with that. And the Tricky Wolf Gaming. What's the website for?
Our website's actually down right now. We're experiencing a lot of technical issues,
Oh,
sadly. So we're running off of the Facebook page, which is, facebook.com/AriiCora. We're going off of there until we can get the Tricky Wolf Gaming website back up. Some kind of issue happened. I don't know. Our tech's kind of derpy.
Well, as soon as we get the link, we'll add it to our on the side of our homepage. We have friends of IGR, and we'll add it to that list once it's up and running.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem. Thank you for coming on again. And if you are a game dev or know someone who is or has anything to do with game development, please let us know. Contact us. You can contact us in several different ways. First of all, we're on all of our videos, the recorded videos, for those of you watching live, are on IndieGameRiot.com. I got it this time. Yeah. And for those of you watching the recorded versions, you can always chat with us on the live version of this on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. Or you can just contact us the usual ways on Twitter at IGR Podcast or on Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. Or you can email us, just do the old-fashioned email, contact at IndieGameRiot.com, which is on our website, IndieGameRiot.com.
Yes, that is where our email is.
At the gaming conventions where they convene with games. Any last words?
Spicy dick milk.
Yeah, spicy dick milk.
Yes.
And no one on the show in the edited version knows what that means, because that was in between
exactly.
segments.
Funny.
More reason to stop by the live stream in between segments.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Put that on a shirt. Thank you,
That,
Will.
and
Thank you, Will
actually,
Wheaton.
yeah. Wait, go ahead.
No, go. What was that?
A game I've been looking forward to was recently funded, so I'm excited about it. It's called Last Year, and it's like if you were playing an 80s slasher film, five players are the stereotypical jock nerd, prissy
Bimbo.
girl, yeah, whatever
Virgin.
those people, yeah, basically. And then you have one player playing as the killer, and it looks great. You should check it out.
Cool.
You should definitely link us. Link it in the chat,
Yes.
man.
I will
Do it.
definitely look in the chat.
Indie
And-
Game Riot does not accept any responsibility for quality of said game. We have not vetted it.
Yeah,
no, I'm
exactly.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
Not
seriously.
associated.
I am vetting it.
Yeah, go check it out. Link,
Yeah,
in,
definitely.
link in the chat for those of you on the live stream. And say goodbye.
See you next time, guys.
Have a good one, folks.
Yep, see ya.
To the wolves.